Greetings and welcome to the RC Wallet Vacuum channel. Today's video I'm going to dive into the world of aluminum TIG welding for RC applications. So I finally have had to go through and retire my formerly trusty 40-year-old Lincoln Ideal Arc TIG 250 that I bought brand new in '84. I used it for quite a few years and then it sat for about 20 in an unheated garage. And about 5 years ago I brought it up when I put this new building up, and I've never been able to get the thing to weld aluminum properly. I can just kind of limp along. And I've got a bunch of projects that have been put on the back burner because I just don't have a properly functioning TIG welder. So I've had to actually break down and get a new welder. So today's video I'm going to go through, I'm going to unbox the new welder, do some setups on it, and do some test welds on a roll cage that I started for the Rovan last year and was not able to complete with the old TIG. And we'll do some runs on that and give a little review of how it works, and that's probably pretty much what this video is going to be. So this is a Rovan roll cage I tacked together last year, and it took a beating this summer, even with the tacks on, so it should do well once I get it fully welded up. After that's done, then this Kraken Vecta 5 is going to be getting a full roll cage, and I'm going to integrate a rear-facing GoPro mount in it. And then on the front mount, I'm going to put a box for the prototype kill switch I've been working on. And then next on the line is going to be this. This is my original fifth scale. It's a Losi 5T 2.0. It's in pieces now, obviously. But that's going to be getting a full roll cage and some different suspension activity. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to put in there yet, but that'll be next on the line. And then that's going to get this SRE 40cc case reed. Wade and Vance were down this year and brought this thing down. I'm looking forward to putting that in there and giving that thing a test. I hope to turn this into kind of a little bit of a terrain truck. So anyhow, let's get to unboxing the welder, and we'll go from there. So I ended up ordering this welder from Everlast. I have no connection to Everlast. It's not a paid promotion. Besides, who the hell would want to pay me to promote their product? They'd probably rather pay me to not promote it. But anyhow, here we are. So I'm just going to cut this thing open and dive in there. It's a inverter style versus my old Lincoln was a transformer style, and it literally is like 550 pounds. It took me an engine hoist, a four-wheel drive tractor, and a bucket to get it out of the shop last weekend. So that was the other reason I wanted to kind of move off from my old Lincoln. Was it just so heavy? It took up so much space and size. I had no mobility to it, and I suppose the Lincoln probably thinks the same of me. But so what I end up getting is their Power TIG 250EX, and I got it as a hull set. At the time I ordered it, the welder wasn't in stock, but the water cooler was, and the card I wanted to get. I didn't feel like building the card, so I just bought the card to integrate the whole thing to it. So let's dig this thing out and see what we got. So this one of my big issues was with the old one too was I was using an air-cooled torch, and that's a 17 series torch, and it's just a monstrosity. So I wanted to go with the water cooling. So I do have the water cooler over there. We'll go through that later on. Like I said, the welder wasn't in stock, but the welder cooling cart was, so they sent that down. One thing I'm a little concerned about is I ordered a separate. It was supposed to come with, I believe, a 18 series torch, which is a water cool unit, but it's kind of big, and I'd ordered a separate 20 series, and I don't see it where it would be in here, so that might be their first ding, but we'll get it out and see what we can find. They may have snuck it in here someplace. It does come with a gas lens set, which I didn't think it did. Foot pedal. Well, there might be two torches in here. There's a lot of parts. Yeah, I think there is two torches in there. So let me get this thing up and out of here. Well, it ain't as bad as the old Lincoln, but still got some weight to it. So I got the 250EX model. They have another version of 255, I think it's ETX. It's an all digital interface, and I use a Lincoln Aspect 230 at work that has that digital interface, and I hate those digital interfaces. I want to be able to just reach up and turn a knob to change the percentage of AC, sine wave, and stuff like that, and I don't have to want to go through a menu setup. But the only thing I did, the EXT has 4 different waveforms you can work off, and so I was tempted to get it just because of that. This one has just a square wave, but for the most part, the square wave is just fine. I don't anticipate any issues with that. So like I mentioned earlier, I'd already had the water cooler and the cart in here for a few weeks. Got it all together. The water cooler integrates into the cart real nice, and got a good tank holder. The only issue I had really putting this together was these side pieces going into these tubes. They're a little tough to get in there. I do some drilling. It does have this bottom storage area. I was a little bummed. I was hoping to be able to slide my welding helmet in there, but it don't fit. So I'm going to have to either modify it or just say the hell with it. Other than that, that's basically that assembly. And then the welder should dovetail into the water cooler. And I like this setup because it's all nice integrated setup, and it rolls around super nice. Now I got some portability. My old welder, I could never take that out in the other section of the shop. So I was kind of stuck with that. So this will be a good improvement. Now, as far as accessories go, obviously there's the handles and stuff like that. And like I said, there's some sort of gas lens set up there. I'm not really sure what that is until I take it apart. It's got got the hose for the flow meter, and over here is the flow meter. Yeah, it's definitely a flow meter, no, not just a regulator. And then, of course, the ground clamp. Got a foot pedal. I think it's a Lincoln style. I don't like having any kind of restraints on the pedal, so that's good. And there is the 2 torches. So far, my viewpoint of Everlast is definitely very positive. I've only had 2 communications with them. Both were regarding shipping, and they were spot on each time with anything with that. There's the stick electrode holder, and then this is a 20 series torch. Nice small little torch. Of course, it's only good at like 200 amps. But for the most part, I'll be under that for the welding. And then over here is the 18 series, I believe it is, and it does come with a gas collet setup, and this thumb switch, which will be going off. Well, this one I'll probably leave intact because I won't be hooking this torch up right away. But this one, luckily, they didn't send it attached; it was separate. I'm all about foot control. That's the way to go. And of course, there's times you can't use the foot control, but that shouldn't be an issue up here. So far everything's looking good. So let me put this thing together, and we'll start giving it some test runs. And by the way, the 20 series also had the collet setup too. I might be moving to I think ArcZone carries some pretty cool gas lens setup for doing the aluminum, but this will work fine for now. So there, it's up and running now, and it takes up like half the space that the old one did, and now it's nice and mobile, so it's definitely a win-win situation. As you may or may not be able to hear, it's kind of loud. I think it's the water pump running. Must run all the time. I don't know if apparently they don't monitor the temperature and turn it on and off based on temperature, but whatever. So that's what it consists of, the Power TIG 250EX, Power Card 330, and 375. And for the coolant, I definitely recommend you run something good. I got some Lincoln in there, and this stuff's good for, I think it's got a real high electrical impedance, so it doesn't leak off the high frequency used in the AC. So let me get some materials set up, and we'll get some test pieces run. What a beautiful job this thing does. So my first test run definitely gets a big thumbs up. It's got a really nice arc control of it, and as you can see, I put down a really nice weld. So I'm going to go through and get the roll cage in here and cleaned up and heated up, and then go over some of the torch settings I'm going to be using, and welder settings, and some of the base metal preparation, and then we'll do some runs and see how it works on that roll cage. So before I get the roll cage in there, I was going to give you a for instance of what can go wrong with it when your welder's not working right or you got some problems with your setup. Aluminum can be a real pisser to weld when everything's not perfect. You can see that's today's inverter welder, and that's a real nice weld. Got good cleaning all around it. And there's the opposite side here is for my transformer welder. And these were some test runs I was trying to do with it when I was having problems with it. And I get a bead like that was pretty decent, definitely acceptable. That's typical transformer. But then 2 seconds later, I'd go through and try it again, and I'd get something like this or something like this, and nothing was changing. And the gas I'm using on this inverter is the same as I was trying on the transformer, so it wasn't a contaminated gas. And so whatever, I'm off to other things. This inverter is a beautiful welder. I'm really happy with it. So let me grab the roll cage, and I'll start getting that prepped. So here's the roll cage I designed for the Rovan 450 XLT Frankentrac. And I just slapped it together last year, and it was extremely frustrating because I couldn't get the welder to work with the crap. But it was basically just to test out the theory and whether he's putting these roll cages on these vehicles is viable. And it definitely is. I mean, all these fifth scales should come out with some sort of roll cage that can protect the thing. So that's the concept here. Now I got the machinery. I should be able to put some of these together. Like I said, I got the Kraken and Lowe's 5T working on. I got a bunch of custom chassis builds I'm going to be working on too in the future. But anyhow, so today what I'm going to do is, as you can see, this is from the old transformer welder that wasn't quite working. There's some pretty ugly welds in there, and it was just tacked. I wanted to be able to go through and weld all this stuff solid and to give it the strength. So that's what I'm going to redo with the inverter unit. So as far as welding aluminum, besides having a very decent machine setup, it's critical to have the material clean. Oxide's the issue. Well, in this case, it's mud and grass that's the issue. I got to get that off too. But as far as getting the oxide off of there, it's kind of a little bit of a black art, I think. There's a lot of differing opinions on it. Basically, a mechanical and a chemical process to remove it. Mechanical can be wire brush, grinder, whatever. But you got to be careful what you do. You definitely want to get in and you want to clean up with acetone or something like that and get all the crap off there initially, and grease and stuff like that. And then I generally tend to favor like a 120 grit sanding disc on a right angle grinder to hit that stuff and get it cleared off of there. But you can't always do that. And the next option I go with is a wire brush, and I'm definitely in favor of a one direction only. And the thought is, as you're going across there, you're taking the oxide off mechanically with a wire. It kind of flings it away, and if you go back and forth, it may have a tendency to want to drag the oxide back in and re-impregnate. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But this will have to be cleaned up a lot. This is a year's worth of oxide built up on at least, plus all the grass and crap, so I'll have to go out and give it some good cleaning. And then the plan is going to come in and do some demo welds on this type of joint. This is kind of a tough joint to do. There's a lot of gap in there. And so I'll go over the torch setup and the filler wire setup and the welder setup. So I got the roll cage cleaned up good here now. There is, like I said before, there's definitely a lot of differing opinions on whether the wire brush will actually pull the oxide off. I'm kind of a believer it does. It won't show on the camera, but you can definitely see aluminum embedded in the wire tips there. So something's got to be coming off. But I don't have the ability to actually measure with the oxide, so I just have to go with my theory and what works. So the next stage after this, once you get it good and clean, is to your welder settings. And the old transformer, you basically had a sine wave at 60 hertz, and you had 50% electrode negative and 50% electrode positive. Where the new inverters, that's their benefit with the AC aluminum is you can change not only the type of waveform you have. Well, this one here I can't. This is all square, but that's fine for what I'm doing. But I can control how much time the electrode's positive and the electrode's negative. And when the electrode's positive, the workpiece becomes negative, and electron theory states that the electron is going to flow from the negative to the positive. So what happens is electrons are flowing up out of the base metal that's now negative. They're pulling the oxide up with it. The downside is now you're overheating your tungsten, and that starts to want to ball back and cause all kinds of issues. So in a case like this, I'm going to take in my test piece. I ran 30% electrode positive, and that gave good cleaning on that. I did manage to get this cleaned up pretty good, so I'm going to try again with 30% there. And I believe I got the welder set at 90 hertz. And it seems to me like the lower the frequency, the wider the bead tends to be. So I kind of need somewhat of a wide bead here, and I may go down maybe to 60 later on, but I'm gonna start with 90 and see how that works. So this is a little step back to the AC balance. You can use that to your advantage when doing different types of thickness of materials. If you got a real thin material, you can kind of crank your electrode positive up, and it'll keep you from blowing through it. And vice versa, if you got some thicker material, you can crank your electrode positive down, and you tend to burn deeper into the material. So in this case, I'm running, I think it's 1/8" diamond plate on there, and I believe that's a 5/16 aluminum bar. So it's kind of a mismatch in size, but I'm gonna, I'll probably crank the amps up probably about 150 to 160 on the machine, and I'll just use the foot control to regulate it down. So let's take a quick look at the torch and then over to the welder. So this is the Tony Series torch, water-cooled torch. I love these torches. They're a great size. You can get in nice in the spots real well. And it's a number 6 cup. That's what came with it. I got to go upstairs and overhead and see if I can find my old Lindy HW20 torch to see if the parts will intermatch. And I think I have a bigger gas cup. I'd like to go with a little bit, like maybe a number 7 on this. So as far as tungsten, I'm running a 2% lanthanated, and I run down like a 35-degree angle on the end of the tungsten. And that's about the max stick out. I think that's maybe a 1/4 inch. I tend to go with the stick out is about the same as the cup diameter, maybe a little smaller. Depends on, a lot depends on the joint and stuff like that. That's kind of another subjective issue. One quirk about this torch is when I first looked at it, I didn't realize this was going to be long enough, this cap, and it ain't. For some reason, it won't fit a 7-inch piece of tungsten in there, so I have to either replace the cap. I had to end up cutting the tungsten back. I might just get a different cap for. I think they do make a longer cap. I don't know why it doesn't come with that longer cap. So I'm running 100% argon. So for flow rates, I generally tend to double the cup size. So this number 6, I'll be running 12 CFH, and that seems to work pretty good. Too much gas in a case of aluminum seems to be more of a problem than too little. As far as the welder setting goes for this, well, I'll go over that in a couple seconds. So as far as filler wire, I'll tell you I'm going to start with probably a 16th and go. I might jump to 3/32 because of the gap. But I'm a firm believer in taking and running some sandpaper down your filler wire to break off any oxide, and then taking a lacquer thinner or acetone or something like, wiping it down, and you'd be surprised the crap that comes off of there from brand new rod, and it's just less crap you get into your welds. So over here on the welder, as far as controls go, down on the torch cooler, basically an on-off switch and your connections, and there's an alarm. It works every time you fire up. It'll be a quick beep of the alarm till the flow gets going. And as I was priming the pump yesterday, the alarm was going off the whole time. So I know the alarm was good, and the thing primed up real well. Didn't have any leaks nowhere, and it sat overnight and nothing showed up. And priming went real well. So far that's been working out real well. So up to the actual welder. Well, starting up here, this is I won't really be using this. This is the 2T, 4T torch trigger setups. Since I use the foot control, I don't really bother with anything up here. This is the starting current and ending current. So if you're using the thumb start or scratch start, which the 4T kind of is about, you'd set the start and stop amps based off of that. And this is also the ramp ups of the square wave. Down here, gas flow, I'm going to have it set for about 1 second pre-flow, just so there's some gas down by the joint, and mostly down by the tungsten, to protect the tungsten when it first lights off. And then post-flow, for aluminum, I'm going to run around 12 seconds. If this was stainless, there's like some sanitary types, or titanium especially, I'd have that cranked up way higher. Then over here, you got your controls to activate some of the different circuitry. This is for the pulse on and off, and these controls down here control all the issues with the pulse. I don't bother using the pulse on a manual. I do use a pulse on a orbital welder for sanitary tubing elsewhere, but I will not be using pulse on this. This is selecting remote. Basically have the ability to set your foot switch, which is a 2T, or the 4T, which is a scratch start, or I believe the thumb switch, which I will not be using either one of those. Mode, AC, DC, this machine will be using mostly on AC. And then the startup modes, you can select your stick mode. And then we got the lift start TIG, which I definitely will not be using that. And then we got the high frequency start TIG, which I do use. That basically kicks out you bring the electrode down towards the workpiece, hit the foot control, and it sends out a high frequency shock and it gets the arc going. And believe me, I haven't got shocked off this one, but I've gotten shocked off my Lincoln many times when you're walking around carrying a torch, moving in a different position, you accidentally hit the foot control and it nails you in the hand, or I've gotten hit in the chest already. It wakes you up, but it hasn't killed me yet. Then over here is the control for the stick. I probably won't be doing a whole lot of stick welding on this, but I will use it from time to time. And spot welding timer, I probably will not be using that, but that allows you to basically time out a series of spot welds. I don't see a use for it in my case. But these two controls here are very important for what I want. One's the frequency of the sine wave, and the other one's going to be the balance of how much time your electrode stays positive and stays negative. So like I explained before, I'm going to be running 90 hertz on the waveform, and I'm running 30% on the electrode positive. And then up here is the master amperage control. You can probably set, you sure can set it to regulate how much you go back. I pretty much basically push it over what I'm going to normally be doing, and then just use the foot control to throttle back. This is something I'm doing all the time, and you just want to basically hit the foot control and hold it full on. Then I will go set it to a limit up here. But in a case like this where I'm experimenting with the joints, I will just crank it up, and then I'll control it with the foot pedal. So overall, this welder it's a really nice setup. I'm really impressed with it. And look at the value of this versus like the Lincoln Aspect 230. Right, when we first got ours at work, it was around 5,000. Now they're almost 9,000 for them. And I mean, it's crazy money. And Millers are just the same way. So, but this seems like a really good quality welder, and the company seems pretty legit. So I'm pretty happy with it. So we'll put this thing to work over here on this roll cage. So you can see there's quite a gap down there if the camera would stay focused. So I'm going to be using 3/32 rod on there, or filler wire, and I will preheat it a little bit to try to burn off any moisture and stuff like that before I start hitting it with a welder. Seems to work a lot better if it's preheated. I like to kind of give it a little bit of a preheat down here, get some oxide starting to burn off. Oh yeah, this is really nice. I would have been working pretty hard by now with my old transformer welder at this point. Take a look at this. Too bad. So the machine's definitely capable of it, so now I just got to see if the operator can do it. I need to burn down into this bar a little more. Oh, this thing is so nice. What a difference. What an absolute joy this welder is. It's really doing a good job. I gotta clean up my bead a little bit better and burn it in a little bit better. That's my first try across there, and I'll get that fine tuned. But it looks pretty damn good, and it just functions so well and so smooth. I probably will jump up a little bit in frequency to narrow that bead up a little bit, but as far as the balance goes, I'm going to leave it right there at the 30%. It seems like it's working pretty good, and good penetration in there. So yeah, this is going to actually go from being a very aggravating project to being a very fun project. So there's definitely going to be a bunch more of these coming down the line of different designs, and definitely got some custom chassis units coming up in the future. Some tube-based chassis. Eliminate the plate that the typical Losies and stuff use. So I went ahead and finished running the bead on that roof panel, and boy, that's nice. I love this thing. I can't believe how well this welder actually works. I think I like this thing even better than my Lincoln Aspect I got at work. I use that mostly for stainless, but I do occasionally use it for aluminum, and I don't know, I swear to God, this Everlast works even better than that one. Nothing against the Lincoln, that's a real nice welder, but I really love this welder. So to wrap this video up, and in conclusion, I'm a huge fan of this thing. It's the Everlast 250 EX, and Power Card 330, and the Power Cool, I believe it's called, 375. It's a great combo, and now I got some decent equipment up here for TIG welding on aluminum. Be watching for, there's going to be quite a few more projects coming out here, a lot more roll cages. Like I said, I got some tube chassis coming up, and numerous other projects. So check back, and feel free to subscribe or like or swear at me, whatever the case may be. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.